We are Gathering of the Geeks, podcast and YouTube show built around the things we as geeks all love. Hashtag we gather on Sundays. Thank you for checking out the one where you can watch on your TV, computer, phone, or tablet. I'm one of your hosts, Emmet, and I'm joined by the Ted Lasso to my coach Beard, Chris Evans. Chris, how are you?
Good. How are you?
What's the matter? What's with the confused look on your face there?
I always have that look.
Gathering of the Geeks is available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Gathering of the Geeks and you will find us. What's up to Eric? Eric and I have been talking Star Trek a little bit in the comments here, in DMs as well. So Eric, how's it going on this fine Sunday evening? Lauren, how are you doing? How's life? How's the show? How's everything? Ian, I was asking Ian about Batman McFarlane action figures about 10 minutes ago. A simple question, and he started putting words in there. It's like he was like a science teacher. I had no idea what he was talking about. He was mentioning gold labels and different things and different
Those
things.
Those are important to know.
I was so confused that I didn't want to tell him that I was confused. He was like, he's the cool kid and I'm the loser.
I kind of want in on that conversation.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, like I remember when we were talking with them. What was it, like a month or so maybe ago, maybe something more, like when they were doing that ET stream or whatever, and they were just talking about toys. Luckily, before we had joined, well, for me anyways, I can't keep up. I can't keep up with toy talk.
You will.
Yeah. What's up to Phil as well? How's everyone doing on this fine Sunday evening? Chris, what's happening, man? What'd you get up to this week?
Yeah, that's a good question that I don't remember.
Every week, that's a good question, and it's a question I ask myself as well. What the hell did I do this week?
What did I? Cocaine Bear. I watched Cocaine Bear.
Ah, there you go. There you go.
Cocaine Bear was a lot of fun. Like I knew I was gonna like it. Like I expected to like it based on it's a bear, high on cocaine. I mean, what's not to love there? But the movie kind of surprised me with how much I enjoyed it. I think that if you watch it expecting like some kind of riveting, really captivating plot with twists and turns, you're going to be really disappointed.
I would agree. I would wholeheartedly agree with that statement.
It is literally Smokey the Bear got a hold of cocaine, chaos ensues, people die.
The Smokey the Bear is completely true too, because it like takes place like in a national park or whatever. It's like, yep, that's Smokey the Bear.
Right, it's not far off. This is not Yogi Bear. Because or maybe I guess that's good too. Either way, it's a bear. It's a bear, and it eats cocaine, and it's amazing, and it goes nuts. It's fun, and also the kills in it are, I think they're more creative than you'd expect them to be. Because I would think, okay, a bear is going to attack. It's just going to be one sort of attack, just mount and bite, basically.
Yeah. Yep.
That's not what it is.
Yeah.
Like the ambulance, if anybody has seen it, there's a scene with an ambulance that if that's not one of the best action scenes I've seen in a while, I'm wrong or something. I don't know how that phrase goes, but you know what I mean.
We get you.
Yeah, I'm scatterbrained. But that was a really, really fun scene. So Cocaine Bear was probably my favorite movie of the week.
The other kill that I really like is the one where the two characters are in the tree, and the one's chasing the one up, and then he falls down and like oh, he fell, oh my god, and then quickly the bear like leaps out of the tree, jumps him right in the back, and just very quickly.
And it's got the kid from Sweet Tooth who does not age apparently.
Yeah, Gus. I was so happy to see Gus.
Yeah, Gus does not age. Ian says Cocaine Bear is better than Shazam 2. I haven't seen Shazam 2 yet, so I'm not sure. Phil says only you can prevent wildfires, but can you prevent the spread of cocaine?
Cannot.
No, we cannot. The ambulance scene was yes, it was. You'd have John Wick fight a bear. Okay, so this comment.
Okay, wait a second.
Yeah, hold on.
I like that you know the context to this comment.
There's no context, but
okay.
With the way John Wick is presented on screen, where he's indestructible, he's 10 times stronger than James Bond, Batman, and probably Optimus Prime combined.
Right.
I'm pretty sure he will just run in, uppercut the bear, and win.
Yes.
Like he'll uppercut the bear and the jaw just breaks off or something. Something gruesome.
Yeah.
without cocaine, of course. So I still pay to watch it though. John Wick versus the Bear. I'm in. Rest in peace, Ray Liotta. So I didn't know he was in this until I was watching it, and I thought the last thing he was in was Blackbird, which I know we're going to talk about.
Yes, and the Ray Liotta cohesiveness is very good here.
In this though, it was kind of interesting because he's like a strung out Henry Hill. So that was fun.
It's like if Henry had a rough go after he enters that enters whatever the
witness protection program.
The witness protection program. Yeah,
he just didn't take to it well.
It didn't take. Yeah, it didn't take.
He did not take. He was surprised to see Alden. I cannot pronounce his name, but the young Han Solo guy. I was too, and I thought he was great in it. I was glad to see him. Zeddy Supergirl Funko came in, which means the shrine has begun.
The shrine.
Yeah, I wish he was in more stuff too, actually. I like him a lot.
I wonder if he's been kind of typecast or scarred from Solo.
Maybe scarred, but Solo, first of all, I like Solo.
Same.
Secondly, it wasn't, whatever's wrong with it is not his fault.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a Frankenstein of a movie. They had two different directors shoot two different versions, and then they molded them together. What it is.
What the hell?
We've seen that before.
Yep.
So, Cocaine Bear, liked it. Good stuff. I call it delightful.
Delightful.
It is. It's delightful.
Nice. I was surprised with it a little bit, specifically the kills, much like you were. The rest of the stuff, I don't know. I guess maybe I didn't know what I was expecting with it. Like the cast of characters, like Carrie Russell's in it, and then her daughter and Gus, and
I didn't really like that story too much.
Yeah, well, like wait a second, these kids are doing like they're putting like a tablespoon of Coke in their mouth off a knife. I'm like, okay, wait a second, maybe that's just because it's the '80s. I have no idea. And that right at the start, I'm like, I have no idea what's happening here. And so that kind of stuff didn't do it for me, but just the bear stuff. I wanted more kills and more the bloody goodness. And by the end of it, that's basically what we got. So I was happy with it overall. And again, the movie is titled Cocaine Bear. I don't know what you should be expecting.
Carnage.
Yeah.
Absolute wonderful carnage. When he eats I think it was a she. When she eats the whole block of cocaine and then just kind of like lays there, I thought that was one of the best things I've seen on film in a while. Our buddy Phil Walsh has an episode of Phil of the Movies where he talks about Cocaine Bear specifically. Check it out. A comment that he made, I'm going to paraphrase and probably get it horribly wrong, but he said that it's like one of the reasons you go to the movies to see something like this, and I wholeheartedly agree. It's just a fun thing to check out. Zeddy says Alden is in a great movie called Fair Play. It's supposed to drop on Netflix later this year. Everyone be on the lookout. It's very good. I will watch that then. I like him. Hey, Cookie. She's with us. Ian says Daisy Ridley's next movie looks good too. I don't know what that is.
Not sure.
Maybe there's a trailer or something. Maybe. No. That's the only movie I watched. Everything else was like TV series. I watched Superman and Lois premiered this week, which I was pretty happy about. That was a good time.
Good.
And of course, Ted's back.
He is.
Ted Lasso. And that was a nice surprise that it was a day early too.
Yeah, you were beyond excited about that.
Yes, I was very happy
because it's like you were just refreshing the Apple page constantly, and you saw that it's like what was it, tonight or something? I think you sent me.
I'm kind of confused, but yeah, it was a nice surprise because I was gonna wait up till 2 a.m. to watch it, so I'm glad I didn't have to.
Right.
But it was a superb episode. Genuinely happy that it's back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was great as well. I think I saw some stuff online, not from fans, but from reviewers talking about the lack of humor in this one. Have you seen that conversation?
A lot of people have said, well, not specifically on this episode, but a lot of people said that about season 2 in general. The lack of humor was a turnoff for them. I didn't mind it though. I like seeing kind of the deeper storylines with the characters and getting to know them better. And also, it just makes them more human to know that they have these faults.
Sure.
They're more relatable with that. but I didn't see anybody complain. I did have a friend who told me he thought the ending of Ted Lasso or the episode of Ted Lasso was more depressing than the finale of Last of Us, which I thought was something.
That's fun.
Yeah, I don't agree with that, but that's what
Yeah.
he said.
Not sure if I concur with that as well, but
Yeah, very different scales here.
for sure.
Post-apocalyptic, Ted is coaching a soccer team.
Yeah. Yeah, he's sad because his son had to go home. You know,
Big
not because of
difference.
zombies. Yeah.
Not because the zombies ate his kid.
Yeah, that's right.
Ian says, I think some people are turned off about the Nate arc. That's another thing. There are some people who just don't like what they're doing with Nate. And they think it came too soon or too much too soon, which I don't personally agree with because I think the seeds are there. But I do get where that comes from. That's your opinion, and that's cool.
The where they're going with Nate just in the start of this season is very interesting. Specifically the press conference scene,
Yes.
and him checking his like social media and the way that Ted or the way that Rebecca watches his press conference and then the way that Nate watches Ted's press conference. I thought all that stuff was very interesting. And like you were talking about the seeds of Nate, that the seeds of acknowledgement that Nate wants and needs from Ted and that he's not getting, which I think is very interesting. I love the Nate stuff. I think it's very interesting. I like the addition of well, not the addition, but the more of Rupert we see as well and his influence that he's having on Nate, not being okay with who Nate actually is as a person and wanting to change him to be more of the person that Nate thinks he should be, but not who he actually is. I think it's very interesting that this show where there is goofiness and then there's Roy Kent and there's in the sewer and all that kind of stuff, but there is that the deeper stuff as well. So I understand the issues that people may have about the lack of humor, but I think that the drama or the meaning is outweighing, and I'm not seeing the lack of humor just because of how good the show is with the messaging that they're putting in there. I think
it's just a good balance. But like Cookie says it here, this whole thing with Nate makes me sad, but I get why they're doing it. It makes me sad too because I liked in the first season the way they were a unit. Ted, Beard, and Nate. I like that, and I like the dynamic that they had. And also, I just kind of want to see Nate do well.
And so does Ted, and that's why it's so interesting. Perfect. Nice.
But I think Ted Lasso was probably my highlight of viewing of the week. I haven't watched Mandalorian. I kind of forgot about it until just now.
I keep asking you. I asked you about it yesterday, I think, and you had.
Was it yesterday?
Yeah, or the day before, or maybe it was earlier this morning. I don't know, but I meant to ask you again this afternoon. I'm like, I wonder if he's watched it yet because I need to yell at somebody about it. And I haven't been able to be angry about the episode with anybody.
I think Ian would love to be yelled at about Mandalorian.
Ian loves. I know he loved the first episode. I'm not sure. I haven't seen his thoughts about the next ones or not. But I was hoping to yell at you about it, Chris. So
you still can. I mean,
yeah. I'll leave it for another time until you've watched it and you can understand what I'm yelling about.
Fair enough. It is better to understand why you're being yelled at. That's fair.
Yes, I would agree with that 100%. Okay, so we'll stick with what I watched this week. So I watched a couple of things. There we go. So Ian, maybe I'll yell at you about it later. Who knows?
Episode 3 was badass.
Oh, jeez. Oh, God. Okay. Okay, so I watched a couple of things, a couple of old new things this week. And starting off with the Ray Liotta thing, I watched Blackbird this week. So I was on Apple TV watching Ted Lasso. And I was kind of scrolling around, I guess we have, I guess my wife signed up for Apple TV or she has it because of her phone or something. I don't really know. So I found Blackbird and I remember you talking about it months ago. It felt like, I don't know when the show came out, October, November. So I finally got around to watching it. I think I was nervous about watching it. I had this I talked to you about this, about prison dramas. how I'm a little scarred from Oz or scenes from American History X, where bad things always happen in prison. You know, there's a shower scene or somebody's
Mm.
getting shivved in the side or something like that. So I was overall I was nervous about it.
Hashtag prison
Uh,
stuff.
hashtag prison stuff. So I finally put it on that first episode, and I messaged you that it was developed, created, and written by Dennis Lehane, who's one of my favorite writers of all time. He wrote Gone Baby Gone, Live by Night, Mystic River, Shutter Island, all those good ones. So I was pleasantly surprised about that, and I kind of knew after I had seen that I kind of like an inkling that I knew I was going to like the show. So a roundabout way, it's a very good show. It's very compelling, and much like how Dennis Lehane is my favorite writer, I feel like the season plays out much like a novel, where
Mm-hmm.
you like every episode is a chapter, and once that first chapter ends, I can't stop reading this. I can't stop watching the show because it is so compelling, because it's so well acted. Um, and Ray Liotta is in it, and Ray Liotta is not my favorite actor. I actually find him quite annoying, actually, in a lot of movies.
Okay. Like
So
what?
and yeah, it's very strange because like Ray Liotta is more or less a beloved actor in some way.
Somewhat, yeah.
So
Sometimes.
and it's interesting. My friend sent me last week. There's this clip of I think it's Ray Liotta and Jennifer Lopez on James Corden, and James Corden asks the question about who is the most overrated actor from the '80s or something, and Ray Liotta, the total boss that he is, says Clint Eastwood. And to badmouth Clint Eastwood in any way in Hollywood is like, that gets you shunned and thrown out of Hollywood for your whole life. And then watching Cocaine Bear, which I watched as well last week, or maybe it was the week before, and then watching Blackbird, seeing Ray Liotta very stripped down in
Yeah.
Blackbird. Like he's not over the top in any, and that's how I saw Ray Liotta, was an over the top type of actor. And maybe that's just in my own head, and I don't even have any
Well,
specific examples about that.
people kind of like he's like a character sometimes
Sure.
because he's kind of amped up in Goodfellas, and then you see some like Heartbreakers where he's really amped up or other stuff. He's kind of just that guy that screams.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I thought. And it's so seeing him in Blackbird, where he's not in it that much, and the scenes that he ends, he's mostly sitting down. He's not, there's no action, there's no anything like that. But he plays the father figure to the main character, Jimmy, very well. I thought, like, aside from obviously, what's his name who plays Larry, Philip Hauser. What the hell is his name?
Paul Walter Hauser. That's funny. The way you tell the story and everything.
listen here, bud. Okay, I got nothing for you. I can't tell a story of my own. You know how hard it is to get to my own stories without talking like an idiot. So the three main actors, obviously, what's his name? Who plays Jimmy? What the hell's his name?
Taron Egerton.
Philip Walter Hauser, I think his name is.
Paul Walter Hauser.
Paul Walter Hauser. Plays Larry. And then, and I text you as well. I forgot Greg Kinnear even existed. Yeah. He's in the show.
He's good in it.
Anyways, so all my thoughts about my preconceived notions about a prison drama were thrown out. Obviously, some bad stuff happens in the prison, but in a very different way, and not as jaded and scarred as I once was. So Blackbird's very good. I think it's a very well told story. I'm glad that I watched it. I really like the season length. I think it's 6 episodes or
something like it. It's not very long.
It's very short, so I was pleasantly surprised about that. You watched it, Chris, week to week, which I didn't know you did that. I thought it was. I forgot that Apple TV was a dump, but
it is
with Ted Lasso. It wasn't, but
no, it was initially, but then now it's not. But the first 2 episodes were they dumped those back on the same night. So essentially, I watched the first 2, and then it was week to week.
Mm-hmm. So watching it in a binge isn't the easiest thing to do for the subject material, but also a lot of once the main character is in prison, kind of doing his mission or whatever, it's just 2 people talking, which is great. I love people talking. That's great. But if you're watching an entire episode, the episodes are about an hour. 45 minutes of it are people talking. And then if you just quickly go right to the next episode and it's the same people talking over and over again, it just became a little bit much to me. And by the end of it, I just wanted to know, okay, get to the end here. I need to know the mystery. I need to know the revelation of what happens and all that kind of stuff. So
it is a revelation.
There is a revelation, 100%. So it felt like that last episode dragged a bit for me, but it felt like that was just the binge aspect of it. Anyways, I'm very happy that I watched Blackbird now. And now I got to watch Tetris with Taron Egerton
Tetris
as well. It's going to be on Apple TV.
Like, whoever thought a movie about Tetris was going to look that good, and it probably will be that good.
I can assume so.
But I completely recommend Blackbird. It's such a good story, and I think it's very engaging. That it's well acted. It's just the subject matter can be difficult at points.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah,
especially toward the end. I mean, Paul Walter Hauser is. Yeah, I know he's not a disgusting human, but it's hard not to watch this and think, man, you are horrible.
Yeah,
that's the Kevin Bacon effect for me.
Yeah, that's right. There's the one scene at the end where he kind of lays it all out.
Mm-hmm.
And you see later Taron Egerton's character, Jimmy, goes back to his cell and Larry goes back to his cell. And you just see Taron crying. Like he cannot fathom.
That's the scene I was telling you about.
That's what I figured it was. It's just like the real life nature of the story is also pretty wild to think about.
It's a true story.
So I don't know if it's a spoiler or not, but I kind of want to ask you this question. Did you get the sense the show was being not forthright whether Larry actually did it or not? Did you get the sense that they left it open-ended in any way? Or did you get the feeling that the show told us that he did it? Because even in those during the credits where they kind of give you a brief little history about, they said, he admitted to it and then, he later recanted his thing, and the whole thing about him being a serial, what they call it, a serial
liar or something.
Serial admitter, a serial liar, or whatever. Did you get the sense that was the case with the show, or are you pretty set that he was the one who did it and that's
I think you get a definitive answer. I think up until the point, well, not to spoil it, but there's a mystery to the show. It's not really about whether he did or didn't do it, but there's a mystery to the show, and I think that's what they play with because it's a show. But the point of it is very definitive, I think. Also, I mean, you can look up the real story, which if you're going to watch a show, do not look up the real story.
You recommended that I didn't do that, yeah.
And you did it, didn't you?
I didn't. No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
But that's why I was wondering if you were telling me that for a reason. Like
that's why.
If there's some big revelation, about the actual ending of the show, like, oh, he's walking the streets now, or something, he was reformed, or anything, something like that. I was just wondering how it was.
Zeddy said people are coming at me about Shazam 2. Ian's upset I'm not digging Mando season 3. Sasha went up to shoot a new movie. Life's rough, man. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yes, Edward.
Well, we'll get him on. We'll get him about Shazam though. I recommend Blackbird. Yeah. It's great. I'm 100%. Glad you liked it.
I'm glad I did too. And crime noir novels, dramas, or something that come around not so often. I feel like either. Like again, this is very simple. Not a simple story, but simple told story.
Well, I mean, if it
were
not
a lot happening,
if it were a movie, it would have been like 2 hours. I think you would have lost a lot of the nuance in it.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably were just focused on how creepy Paul Walter Hauser could be.
Yeah, they
were just turned it to that. You wouldn't have really known Jimmy or the father or anything else.
Yeah, I wonder if you would even got the backstory, or not the backstory, but the story of Greg Kinnear's character and
probably
the actual,
not.
That side of it, or just
they probably would have cut him
stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, good show.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. 100%. So the other thing that I watched this week, another new old show, was The Bear. I think you guys have it on FX or Hulu.
I think it's on Hulu. I'm not
down there.
Sure.
I watched it on Disney Plus Star. I don't know why I didn't watch it. I don't even remember why I watched it this time. I remember Zeddy talking about it a long time ago when the show was coming out. It takes place in Chicago. So I'm assuming, Zeddy, you can let me know, man, in the comments if you had some kind of, I don't know, relationship to the story in that way or not. Anyway, it's about a guy who, his brother dies, kills himself, and he comes back. He gets left the restaurant that it was his brother's, and he's a fine dining restaurant, one of the best chefs in all of America. He comes back and tries to work at his brother's restaurant and make it life again and make it good again. great episode length. I think some of the episodes are like 25 minutes. One of them's I think like 21 minutes.
That was
The
about a
rest of them are
deli.
like it's not a I don't know what you guys call a deli down there. It's the place is called the Beef, and they make Italian sandwiches.
It's
But it's
deli.
not like but it's not like there's an old Italian guy behind the counter slicing it and yelling and screaming at you that way. I don't know. I don't know what delis are for you guys down there.
It's kind of that.
Okay, so it's a deli. That's good enough for me.
It's kind of like that.
That's fine. Anyway, so I thought the cast is outstanding. I thought the story, the way it played out, was really good. The main actor, Jeremy Allen White, I think his name is. He's one of the actors from Shameless. If you ever seen that show, Chris. Anyways, it's a really good show about a lot of things: addiction, forgiveness, family, and I like the restaurant feel to it as well, the cooking feel to it as well. My brother's a personal chef, so I've been around kind of. He's not watching, so food snobs my whole life. So it was kind of cool that way to it as well. Oliver Platt's in it.
I like Oliver Platt.
John Berthnall's in it for 5 minutes.
I like John Berthnall.
Yeah.
So I like sandwiches. I should watch it.
Well, that's the other thing too. If you just like food, it's kind of a cool show.
I know Zeddy is a fan of it. I believe Cookie is also a big fan of it.
Oh, nice. Okay, good.
I think a few of our friends have watched it.
Mm-hmm. I highly recommend it, Chris. It's a nice, easy watch. It's not an easy watch, but it's short. 30, like I said, the episodes are nice and short. So
I may get to that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll add it to the list.
Yeah, add it to the list, Chris. I think that's all I watched this week. I was going to watch The Bear, or not The Bear, The Whale. Very bingy. I agree with you, Ruben. I watched it in 2 days. I was going to watch The Whale this week, but I got hung up on Blackbird. So
I was going to watch The Whale and Everything Everywhere All at Once, but I ended up.
Oh, son of a bitch.
I know, but I ended up reading. The one book I did read was I reread Rebirth, Superman Rebirth, and it's 12 issues long, and that took a chunk of my time.
Yeah, I was gonna say when he's like, "Oh, I'll just read this book real quick."
Yeah.
12 issues.
And then I did start to watch Scooby Doo Meet Kiss or whatever the hell the cartoon movie is called. It's on HBO Max. It's Scooby Doo and Kiss, two things I like. Put them together. Let's see what you get.
I agree with that.
I watched like 40 minutes of it and I had to turn it off. I got distracted.
So Ian has a comment here about The Bear being one of the best shows he's seen, and I had a tweet the other day about, can a show that's one season be one of your favorite shows of all time, even though the show is still ongoing? Like they're making a second season of The Bear. It comes out in I think a few weeks or whatever. What do you think about that idea that a show that's only one season deep into its run can be your favorite show, one of your favorite shows of all time? Because it is for me. I think The Bear is. I was quickly and immediately in love with this show right away.
I'm about to become incredibly biased, and everybody knows where I'm going with this. Interview with the Vampire Season 1 is one of my favorite things in the world. So yes, I think you can do that. If it's just that good to you and it grabs you that much, then yeah. And that's an example from Interview with the Vampire, or even I really love Rings of Power.
Right. Because I was trying to think of my favorite shows of all time, and they're all older shows that I've watched over time and really grown to appreciate over time. The Wire, Breaking Bad, Sopranos, Justified, Hannibal, exactly, stuff like that. And I can't remember watching those shows as they were coming out. Like I didn't watch The Sopranos as it was airing, but I watched Mad Men as it was airing, Breaking Bad. But I can't remember a first season of a show automatically making me think that it's one of my favorite shows of all time.
Oh, How I Met Your Mother for me also on the lighter end of the spectrum. When I watched, I was like, this is for me. And coincidentally, the last season ruined it, but that's a whole other thing. But yeah, I can see that. If one season is that strong, it's that strong. Even like if you think about a show like Game of Thrones. That first season was pretty good. Right. Once you get into it, because I think they throw a lot at you in the beginning episodes, so you kind of have to get on board with it. But once that point happens, that's a solid season of television.
Right. Yeah, and it's interesting about saying, say, like Game of Thrones, saying season one is my favorite season of television ever,
Mhm.
or whatever. And there's a difference between obviously saying
Walking
The
Dead.
Bear, exactly, yeah, exactly, season one of The Walking Dead or season two or whatever. But saying a one season is one of my favorite shows of all time, like
Mhm.
putting The Bear up against Mad Men, 6 seasons
Mhm.
of a show.
Yeah.
It's just something I can't quite wrap my head around at this point. But The Bear, like I said, it just grabbed me instantly right away.
Have you seen True Detective?
Yeah, I've seen season one and season two. I don't. Season three is the one with Marshala Ali. I haven't seen that one.
Hmm. Did you like it
And,
though?
yeah, season one is incredible. Anthology, a little different, but I agree that True Detective season one is so good, so good.
Freaks and Geeks is very popular. Have you ever seen this show?
Yeah, I got the box set. It's a great show. I love it. It's all those characters and all those actors were who they were before they were. Busy Phillips, Seth Rogen, James Franco, all those guys.
I have no idea what it is, but I always hear it's great.
Yeah, great high school show about
Freaks and Geeks is a great example.
being a geek and being the opposite of geek. So,
Said he also agrees The Bear is one of the best TV shows I've seen in the past few years.
mm-hmm.
Eric feels that way about Strange New Worlds.
Yep, that's good stuff.
Yeah, TV, I think, you know, even if you don't like the later seasons, I think some people come back to certain seasons. Like, I'm a big fan of Entourage, but I think the third
Ah,
season is borderline unwatchable.
which one's that one? Is that the Aquaman one?
No, that's the season with the character named Dom and the Shrek doll.
Dom.
Most,
The buddy from back home.
yeah, the buddy from New York that comes to visit
Right,
and
right.
wreaks
Yeah, yeah,
havoc,
yeah.
basically.
Yes,
Yeah, I think that
yes.
season is unwatchable. But the entire first season is complete magic.
That's an interesting idea too. Good, bad seasons of a good show. That'd be something
Well,
I'd have to
when
think
you have
about.
too many bad seasons, it ruins the whole thing.
Well, sure, that just makes it a bad show.
Exactly. You can't just have one good season because then it's terrible. Like Heroes is a really good example of that.
Hmm.
Did you ever watch Heroes?
No, I never saw.
Heroes it was a really cool concept. They basically were doing X-Men without calling it X-Men, or that's
Hmm.
what it seemed like they were doing. And it's a really cool first season. And the second season was just terrible. I think
Hmm.
they went off the rails. They didn't go back to what they even accomplished in the first season. And I think the third season is where it actually died
Hmm.
completely. And then they tried to revive it, and that didn't work either.
Hmm.
But that first season was great.
Something about the premiere episode. I often hear about that show. Like the
Heroes,
pilot is, yeah, the pilot is supposed to be incredible.
it is.
I
It's
think I've
really, really
heard or read
special.
that somewhere. Yeah.
I don't know if it's available streaming anywhere, but if you wanted to check out even just the pilot, it's worth watching.
Hmm. It's got Zachary Quinto in it, I think, doesn't it?
Yes, that's the first time I saw him in anything. I thought he was pretty
Right.
cool. And it also it has what is that guy's name? He was in Rocky Balboa. He's in
Merge
This Is
Asparagus.
Us. No,
Oh, Milo Venta something or other.
that's right.
Yeah.
Milo Ventimiglia. Yeah, he's really good in
Hmm.
it. Yeah, Phil says the quality drop in Heroes is devastating.
Hmm.
It's really something. It
Is there
really is.
a reason?
I have no idea. I just
Like
know.
the creator left or showrunner left or
No, I
something?
don't think so. I think they just thought they were making a different kind of show. I don't know.
Hmm.
Because the first season really it's like X-Men light. And you would think,
Hmm.
okay, so the second season would be like an action kind of storyline, or maybe they come together. They don't.
Hmm.
And it's
Hmm.
just this bizarre thing that happens. Also, a lot of really talented people worked on that show and
Hmm.
were, on camera.
Nice. So you only read Birthright this week. Nothing new. Nothing else. I don't know if there was
No.
too much for you this week.
Well, there was Harrower number 2, which I will get to in a little bit probably. There was
Mm.
also Nemesis 3. I actually don't know what the big 2 had this week.
Superman Lost.
I wanted to
Issue
read that,
number
yeah.
1 was this week. It was incredible. Superman goes on a mission with the Justice League. He gets stuck somewhere for 25 years and comes back to Lois, but it's only been a few minutes for her. So it's a
It's
really
not
interesting
canon,
story.
right?
No, it's a 10 issue or 12 issue
Okay.
series, so it's limited. which is very, very cool. Very good. It's just another great Superman book of 2023. So I cannot wait to read the second issue. So good.
Laura's wondering if it's worth getting because she's heard mixed things.
It's very good.
I haven't seen anybody talk about it really. I saw one or two people, but not speaking about the quality of it, just that it exists.
Yep, big fan of the art and the writer Christopher Priest, who I don't know.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, so just looking at his page here, he wrote. He's writing the new Black Adam series that's out now. I think he did something about Deathstroke too, if I remember correctly.
Oh, is he the guy who did that Deathstroke Inc. or something?
Yeah, he did Deathstroke for Rebirth as well. His page is humongous. A League of Comics. So if you're into Superman this year, which I think a lot of people should be, yes, Ruben, that's right. He wrote the Deathstroke Rebirth as well. Anyways, I love it. It was great. Can't wait for the next issue. Don't know what else there was from Marvel. I'm sure Marvel had something.
Probably an X-Men book, some Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'm
Wolverine. Yeah.
I'm actually getting probably more behind because this week I want to read the Poison Ivy book.
Yeah, we've been saying that, eh?
It's actually it is at the top of my list this week. I'm going to read the Poison Ivy book. Yeah. And I also want to check out World's Finest from Mark Waid because I'm kind of on a Mark Waid kick now, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
I've heard it's great, so I want to check it out. So I'm going to be doing some backtracking with DC.
No, nothing wrong with that.
And the usual indie comics because it's always good.
Always good. So that's pretty much all I read this week. Little Monsters 11 was out this week as well. It's the second to last issue. It ends next month. Hey, Bob. Next week has got I think it's the final Batman One Bad Day book as well.
Is it? Is it the Ra's one?
The Ra's al Ghul one, Tom Taylor. So that's out next week.
There's a lot of hype going into that one. Everyone wants to know what Tom Taylor's doing.
Yeah, I wonder if Lauren, if you want to say, I know she's mentioned that Ra's al Ghul is one of her favorites, or is her favorite. So I'm interested to see what she thinks of it.
Yeah, that one's gonna be popular. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's one of the more high-profile writers that have done one of these books. And it's kind of interesting that he took on Ra's because he didn't write Ra's at all during his historic run. We're going to call it historic now.
I would.
It gets the people moving. We're going to use adjectives like that. So in his historic run, he never touched Ra's al Ghul. So I'm interested to see what does he have to say about Ra's al Ghul. Or Roz, however you want to pronounce it. I mean, you do you.
Yeah. How do you do it? You said Ra's. I'm a Roz guy. Okay.
I think it like begins, and you have that lady. Am I pronouncing that right? Ra's al Ghul, which I think means it's wrong because everyone says Ra's.
Yeah.
And I was watching an interview with Denny O'Neil years ago, which was, if I remember where it was from, I'd tell you. But it was a great interview. I'll say that. And he was talking about Ra's, and he pronounces Ra's, I believe.
Yeah, I was just thinking that this is the last one for that One Bad Day. I wonder if they keep it going, they do another one.
It'd be great if they started a series with another catchphrase from a villain and went off that.
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting.
That would be. I don't know what they would do with it, but if you could just pick another one, because the One Bad Day concept I thought was fantastic.
Yes.
All it takes one, but the way they used it was not what I expected.
Right.
So it's kind of just Batman stories with a title on it. There was nothing One Bad Day about it, but still.
Right. Well, I know that, and Eric reminded me about this, mentioning Tom King. I think him and Mitch Gerads are doing some kind of sequel to their Riddler story.
Oh, are they?
Thought I read that somewhere. So,
have you read any of the last Ronin?
No. Ninja Turtles books, I can't do it. There's too many of them. It hurts my head.
Well, you can read Last Ronin.
I read the first issue. I know who the Last Ronin is. So
I don't know who the Last Ronin is.
I know I don't know if this Last Ronin. I know who that turtle is on the cover. And
I don't know who the turtle is.
Okay, so that's fine. I'm not going to spoil it for you. But yeah,
it's one of the four.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
It says, One Bad Day had King and Tamaki, so definitely quality writers all around that series. Yeah, no, they were all good writers, but I think like when we're talking about high-profile writers, I think King might be the most high profile, unless I'm forgetting somebody. Maybe I am. I
Yeah,
probably
King,
am.
Tamaki, Taylor. I know Lanzig and Kelly did the Clayface one. I can't remember who did the Catwoman one. John Ridley did the Penguin one.
The majority of them didn't have a bad day. Exactly. It was not a bad day for them. That's what I was expecting each book to be like. Oh, something went wrong.
Sure.
And you're like, wah, wah, wah. No, that's how it was.
every page turn up in the corner of the word bubble. Wah, wah, wah,
Wah,
wah,
wah,
wah.
wah. That's what I expected.
All right, so that's what we read and what we watched this week, Chris. Before we go any further, though, guys, if you're in the comments right now or if you're watching the replay, make sure you hit that like button, please, and thank you. Chris, we had a poll last week for science, my man, and this was one that you had thought about. Something was stirring in that little noodle of yours
As it usually
about
does.
we were curious about there's how you watch things, how you're watching us right now, or how you watch your favorite TV shows, whether Ted Lasso or how you watch your movies. What do you watch it on? Do you watch it on a laptop or a computer, a tablet, a phone, or your TV? And of course, The Batman is on HBO Max. Second place winner this week, Chris was HBO Batman. So there you go.
I saw that.
Yeah. Our friend Grab says the only thing I watch on my computer is YouTube shows. The reason for that is I won't make my wife watch the nerdy shows I watch on YouTube. Stephen Hayner says TV and tablet. Phil says TV. Cookie says TV. I need the biggest screen possible for reading the closed captions.
I understand that completely.
I feel that one for sure as well. Ian, he tries to watch most of the things on his TV, especially movie shows I've been looking forward to. Although if it's a rewatch, I sometimes use my office computer monitor because my kids and my wife often use the living room TV. I only use my phone during commutes. Comic Guy Steve says if it's a TV show or movie, unless I'm traveling, it's a TV 100% of the time. Sound system and the big screen are a must. I could do the PC/laptop if necessary, but a phone? Nah. I'll wait till I can get it somewhere with a TV. Chris, this was your idea, your thought. Where did it come from? What made you think of this one?
It was actually a random tweet I saw. I forgot what the tweet was, but it was someone taking a picture of their laptop and they were watching something on it. And I was thinking, do people watch stuff this way? How do you watch your stuff? That's kind of where it came from. Also, I just realized I went on a rant about Tom King being historic when we were talking about Tom Taylor. Sorry about that.
Oh,
but anyway, yeah, I don't know why that happened. But anyway, so yeah, I that's where the idea came from because I primarily do not like watching on anything but my TV. So that's my thing. I like to watch on TV, but it seems like a lot of people prefer tablets or laptops, which is kind of surprising to me. But at the same time, I guess it makes sense because it could be a bigger screen. It's closer to you, so maybe people enjoy that. I don't know.
So what do you watch? Ian said he watches things on his phone on a commute. Do you do that often? Watch something on your phone if you're out somewhere, or you'd rather just wait?
I'd rather wait. The only thing I watch on my phone are trailers, of course, stuff like that, YouTube videos, things like that. Or like when I've been on planes, I'll watch something on my phone. I really don't like doing it. Like I've said it before, watching Barbarian on a phone was a very weird experience.
Why were you doing that? Is that when you were going down to
Florida?
Disneyland.
Yeah, I was watching that Barbarian on the way there.
That's fun.
But yeah, I generally don't like watching like full movies or TV shows on my phone.
Yeah, I watch 75% of the stuff I watch on the TV, but I watch most of Blackbird on my iPad. Just laying in bed at night, staying up until midnight, just watching a show because like sometimes you get more comfortable laying in bed watching something. It's tough though. That feels much more smaller scale for me. I don't know if I'd want to watch for the first time The Last of Us or Rings of Power or House of the Dragon or something like that. I feel like I'd want to try and watch it on the biggest screen possible in my house rather than at the theater or what have you. But it feels like something that is smaller, like a drama or a comedy, I'm okay watching on a tablet rather than a bigger, grander scale, something just on my TV.
Something that looks prettier.
Yeah, for sure.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Ian says most apps have a download feature. So if you have a long commute, I take trains in Tokyo, so it works. My phone is decent size. If you hold it to your face, it's the same as a TV. I agree. It is. When you hold it like that, it is pretty similar.
Mm-hmm.
The sound quality is not too bad either, depending what you're using. Like I
Mm.
think with my AirPods, I'm usually pretty good with that.
Sure.
But
And Frank's got an interesting comment there about quality. You know, an iPad has, you know, in a smaller scale, might have better quality than a TV might.
well,
So
the,
that's
the
an interesting thought.
screens on iPhones and iPads are pretty high quality these days.
Yeah, for sure.
So even like when you play a game or something on there, it looks really good because the phone
Mm-hmm.
is made to look really good now.
Right.
And they do push the idea of watching things on phones and things anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it.
Just don't
It's
tell
however you're
Christopher
comfortable.
Nolan you're going to watch it on your phone.
You know, I wanted to watch Tenet on my phone just because.
Just to stick it to him.
Just because. How about that, Mr. Nolan?
Yeah.
It's just as confusing on my phone as it is on a TV.
That's right. Didn't change the story there, pal.
You know, maybe the secret is unlocked if you watch it on your phone. Maybe that's the key.
That's it. That's the key.
That's why
to
he
it
didn't
all.
want us to watch it on the phones. Because then you understand it, like, oh, I'll spread the news, and then nobody will watch it.
Have you and you mentioned before about gaming on your phone or whatever with the PS5 remote play or whatever? What's that like?
Yeah. Well, I've played the latest Ninja Turtles game like that.
Yeah, the Shredder's Revenge. Yeah.
Right, a PlayStation 5 controller, and I think an Xbox as well, can hook up wirelessly to your phone. So I'll
Right.
just prop the phone up and have my controller, and it works seamlessly.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fun, and it's a good way to play because generally, if there's on-screen buttons, I don't like playing a game like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Moving. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and I rarely play games on my phone anyway. It's good. Like I'll play Marvel Snap, but that's not really like a move around fight kind of thing. Or stuff like Bejeweled or Tetris, even.
That's fair.
I save TV shows and stuff to watch when I'm on the. I can't pronounce that word.
Elliptical.
There you go. I'm scatterbrained tonight. I'm tired. Ian says everything looks better on my 28-inch 4K monitor than my 65 4K TV because the pixels aren't as spread out. I guess that makes sense too. Also, if I'm not mistaken, monitors can handle like the motion flow stuff better than most TVs. I could be wrong though, because you get like those waves and stuff.
I remember watching the finale of Mando when Luke Skywalker shows up in my bed at I think it was 6:00 in the morning. I didn't want to go downstairs and watch the episode, and my kids wake up, so I remember just had the iPad in my bed watching it. So I use the iPad when I don't want people to hear, much more smaller idea of it, I guess.
I guess that makes sense too. I think the only like at home the only time I've ever watched it on my phone was I watched The Shadow on my phone for some reason. I can't remember why.
With Alec Baldwin?
Yes.
Yeah, nice.
Great film. And I think maybe that's I couldn't find it on a streamer. It's like, well, maybe I'll find it on my phone somewhere.
Yeah.
I think it was on YouTube.
Nice.
I think YouTube had it up. So.
Okay, so that's our thoughts on what you guys watch your stuff on. It is an interesting thing. And Chris, you had thought that computers were a big one, and that was the least voted on option.
Surprised, yeah.
Was the laptop there. So obviously, I think YouTube is a big one. I like watching YouTube on if I connect or I download the YouTube app. I remember watching the Lost in Comics award show. Yeah. You can have the comments on the side, and you can kind of do your thing and have it on the TV as well. It's nice seeing geeks on full big screen TV. It's kind of fun watching it on YouTube.
Yeah, I've watched it before like that too. It's fun.
All right, Chris, that's pretty much it. You got anything else you want to talk about? You want to stretch the show for another 10 minutes, or we didn't have too much to talk about today?
That was kind of a quick one, but I did want to mention we are going to have so this happened a few weeks ago and we kind of just forgot to mention it. We put a poll out there asking you guys.
We forgot something? Get out of town.
We did. It's amazing. that never happens.
Yeah.
But we asked you guys first we said we're going to have a new thing coming weekly or bi-weekly, whatever it is. And we asked you guys to help us name it. A quick gathering one. So I don't remember if we explained it, but it's going to be like a news thing where because generally we don't talk news on here.
Nope.
It's kind of rare when we do. So we'll be covering news stuff on that, and that'll be starting soon.
He had to mention it, didn't he? Listen, I got a new light, okay? And Chris mentioned how I looked like, what did you say? It looked like it was in 3D or real or something.
Just
the shine on the shine on the top of my
very
head.
real.
Ian, God darn it. Anyways,
it's okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. So anyway, we're gonna have the quick gatherings coming. Those aren't going to be live shows. They're just going to be like 15 to 20 minute videos. 15 to 20 minute videos covering just if a news thing kind of sparks our interest and we want to talk about it, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, a little bit of news to get you through a week. And we, like you said, Chris, we don't talk a lot of news. We just kind of do our thing here where we talk about what we consumed in the week. And a lot of news goes by. And like you said, it's a nice little short, 30, 20 minutes, whatever, and it'll be on our YouTube. So, guys, please make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're better at that stuff. So, yeah, look for that. And I think that pretty much covers it.
Mm-hmm.
Unless I'm forgetting something. There's a new Renfield trailer out. You guys should go watch it.
Oh, Chris is beyond about the Redfield trailer. And I was like, the TV spots are out. Holy lifting. They're really going to town with the marketing. It's fun. Crazy fun. Here. I wasn't expecting the black and white old school thing. And I'm wondering how that's going to play into the movie. Flashbacks or...
I selfishly hope that the movie starts out the way the 31 film does.
Right.
I really hope that's what it is, but we'll see. Less than a month,
so almost crazy. It could be the worst movie ever, and it could be just one of the best times ever. I think
I'm going with the latter.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay, guys, that's it. We got a short little show. Just kind of came chat and hang out like we do every Sunday. And I just wanted to say thanks to everybody for jumping on. Actually, pretty great comments today and a lot of interaction. So thank you to Phil, Ian, Frank, Bob, Chris from Austin Comics was here, Zeddy, Lauren, Cookie, Travis jumped in for a second or two. Yeah, Ruben, thanks so much for watching, guys. And we'll check you guys next week and keep looking out for our stuff on YouTube. And if you haven't already, listen to our chat where we, Chris, I, and Nico from the Vigilante 1939 talk about the season finale of HBO's The Last of Us. It's wherever you get your podcasts. So hit us up there as well. Chris, let people know where they can find you.
So first you can find the new thing I'm doing with my buddies Phil Walsh and Anthony Caruso. It's a DC-focused podcast over at DC Unlimited Pod on Twitter. You can follow me directly if that's your thing, at that Chris70. As always, I prefer you follow this show at G of the Geeks. Emmet is much better with all the subscription and other plugs, so he'll take care of that.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at EmmettDavis7. Gathering of the Geeks is available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Gathering of the Geeks and you will find us. Everybody in the comments, make sure you have liked this video and let us know in the comments if you're watching the show on rewatch as well. What you guys think?
And if you're watching on your iPad.
Or you're watching on your iPad, or let us know how you're watching us right now. In saying all that, thanks everybody for watching, guys. For Chris and I'm Emmet, and we gather on Sundays.
Have a good week, guys.